What is the dumbest way the popular kid fucked up their life? Thought he'd be cool by chugging an entire bottle of vodka. Killed himself via alcohol poisoning. Kid was kinda smart, but an excellent multi-sport athlete. He had a full baseball scholarship lined up for a state school. The summer after senior year at a party, he got drunk, picked a fight, and got his knees broken. Don't know what happened to him, but I know he didn't go to college. They poured some chemicals on the football field to spell out our graduation year for a senior prank. It killed the grass and ruined the soil under it. The grass and soil on a football field are specific and expensive. It cost tens of thousands of dollars to repair it on such short notice. The school wanted to be lenient. However, the insurance company required them to get the police involved to cover the claim. So they were arrested. Two of them decided to take hunting rifles and shoot several rounds into the principal's house at night, thinking the police wouldn't catch them and they would just not follow through with a possible attempted murder. 4 of them in a car. Driver going very fast on an expressway late at night. Lost control of the vehicle and flipped it, ejecting 3 of them not wearing a seatbelt. Driver got rolled over by the car and was killed instantly. Second was killed from the injuries. Third had severe brain damage and requires assistance until his dying day. 1 passenger was wearing a seatbelt and left with minor injuries, except the trauma of watching 2 of his friends die and 1 of his friends become severely disabled. Edit. Many of you have asked where this was. It was upstate Nye. I don't remember the year, but at least 15 years ago. Given how many of you asked where it was or shared similar stories, I think the overall theme here is wear the seatbelt every time. Got suspended for something really dumb. So he and a couple buddies tried to burn down our vice principal's house. Got the address wrong and almost burned a family alive. Took pictures of himself getting head from the football coach's daughter and slipped a copy under the coach's office door as revenge for some slight against him. He was one of the top football players. He was dumb enough to think the coach's daughter wouldn't say who it was in the picture. Of course she told, and of course he knew, and of course he was kicked off the team. Few months of disciplinary actions after, because he sort of spiraled, and he was sent to one of those schools for people with difficulty functioning in normal schools. I don't know if it ruined his life, but it ruined his trajectory, and he wound up dropping out of the local community college instead of going off to Florida State like he had planned. Didn't exactly fuck up his life, but he managed to put 2 brand new Audi A8s into the same telephone pole outside of school. Second time, we all stuck around in the school parking lot to witness the aftermath. His dad was apocalyptic. "You hit the same fucking pole. How? How?" He got a used banana yellow wagon after that. It was hilarious. Went to a house party shortly after grad, got kicked out for being douchebags, went back to the party and beat the host to death with a bat, petitioned for a conditional release so they could spend Christmas with family. Completely normal shit. He beat the shit out of the disabled kid, who was well loved by everyone and told dad jokes. The problem was that kid got a brain bleed and almost died, so he went to prison for attempted manslaughter. What did disabled kid do to deserve this? Allegedly, he told a somewhat flirty joke to the popular guy's sister, who was 1 grade below us. I think it was along the if you were a desert, you'd be a cutie pie kind of joke. His parents don't even visit him in prison. He decided it was a good idea to get high on pills and go for a drive. He ran over a lady and her dog, killing them both. He left his car and called the police to say that the car was stolen by a black guy. After they found the car and the accident, they called him into the station for a talk. He went up to the police station with the keys in his pocket. This kid wasn't necessarily popular, but he was on the verge. He wanted nothing more in the world than to be on our high school's cross-country team. He just didn't have the chops for it. He'd practice and try out repeatedly, but could never quite make the cut. Everybody knew about his desire to be on the team, and I think most of us were pulling for him, because he had the heart, just not the legs. Anyway, one day in gym class, we were having a fitness test, in which we were to run laps around the outer perimeter of our school and complete as many laps as possible. Most of us dropped out after a lap or two, and went to sit on the bleachers. There were a bunch of cross-country kids, though, who had taken this as a challenge and were running seemingly endless laps. Not quite popular kid figured that if he could keep up with those guys, he'd show that he deserved to be on the team. Lap after lap, he hung right at the back of their pack, never catching up, but never falling completely away either. The large group of us who had already given up and were sitting on the bleachers saw this, and we all started rooting for this kid and watching closely. As the pack passed our bleachers on yet another lap, the kid following behind visibly shit his pants. Turds poured from the leg holes of his gym shorts and onto the pavement as we all watched in horror. The kid just kept running. On the next lap, our gym teacher, who fancied himself a drill sergeant, flagged the kid down, chewed his ass, and made him clean up the turds as we all sat there wishing for an unexpected asteroid strike to put us out of collective misery. His popularity never recovered. He never ran a single meter for our cross-country team. If anybody wants to make a Rudy-esque film out of this, hit me up and I'll fill in the blanks. He didn't become a pro baseball player like he told everyone he would because he partied too much, and in turn became the meanest piece of shit ever anytime you would see him. He would bully the fuck out of anyone he ran into from HS at bars to make himself still feel cool. Just a side note, he would mime playing baseball while you spoke to him the entire time. He got married and cheated on her repeatedly with strippers. When she found out and was planning to divorce him, he blew his head off with a shotgun. I had a friend who was a straight-A student. Everyone loved him, and he came from a good middle-class family. His day was a solicitor, I think. Never put a foot out of line. One day he came in and set off half a dozen smoke bombs in maths class. Turns out his dad was part of the Sealed Knot, an English Civil War reenactment society. The smoke bombs were used by his dad to simulate the smoke from cannons. He was quickly suspended and then sent for private schooling. Never seen a turnaround as quick. Apparently they are dangerous, and his dad had signed something to say they were in a secure location. Not something you should steal, smuggle into secondary school, and throw at the maths teacher because you forgot your homework. He got his GF pregnant. Pregnant GF dumped him and started dating his best friend. Shortly after giving birth, she got pregnant again. She dumped the BFF and goes back to Popular Kid. Popular Kid learned she was pregnant with BFF's child. He got into his car and parked on BFF's street. He waited for BFF to show up and shot him thrice. The GF was in the car with him and even gave him the gun. BFF survived, and Popular Kid and Crazy GF are currently in jail. It's in Canada. My mom went to school with a popular kid who was DUI and crashed with another popular and generally more well-liked kid. The passenger was badly hurt, the driver only superficially. He didn't want to get caught, so left, leaving the passenger to die on the side of the road. It was later determined that he would have absolutely lived if the driver called 911. He was still alive for hours. Driver got caught anyway. I think he's out and still lives in the small town he grew up in. And it's a no one talks about it, but everyone knows kind of situation. He has no real social life, BC of it.